Hello, today we are looking at the AS Level Music Paper 1 listening paper. We are looking specifically at the essay writing in Section C. Now, Section C has to do with connecting music. So here you will be asked to write an essay. So we know that the AS Level paper has 3 sections. Section A, it's all about listening, Baroque style works. You write what you write, you have your Section A set works. You answer some questions there, you get an unprepared listening, an unprepared insert. There you go, comprehension style, off you are. Section B has to do with your Section B set works. So there are 3 full set works, all connected around a certain theme. And there you have to write an essay based on what they give you. And you may have your Section B set works with you on an unedited CD, and you may listen to it as you're writing the essay. Okay, and then finally we have Section C, which is also an essay, but this is now on connecting all the musical ideas that you have studied since, the beginning of your music career. They can ask you literally anything and everything, and trust me, anything and everything has come up before. So we're just going to look into what the section entails, what we can do to prepare for it, some essay tips, and then finally some past questions that you can go ahead and practice in your spare time to prepare yourself for your Section C essay for your AS Level Music paper. So in Section C, candidates may not use any setworks or recordings. It's not about setworks here. You're required to write a single essay out of a choice of 3, and this section will test musical and contextual understanding as well as personal engagement with a wide range of listening. And of course, you can't do the listening on the spot during the exam. It's based on all your life's listening. Sounds dramatic, but it really is. Candidates will be expected to demonstrate a wider understanding of contextual and cultural issues and to make connections. So in your answers, you should refer to musical examples of at least 2 or more styles. From folk, pop, jazz and world music, you're definitely also allowed to refer to any Western art, music or Western classical type styles. So from your Renaissance, your Baroque, your classical, romantic, modern genres. However, you're not allowed to refer to your set works that you have studied, okay? So your 3 set works that you have studied for Section B and your 2 smaller set works that you have studied for Section A in the year that you write, you're not allowed to refer to those. Anything else goes, just not those. You may refer to your own pieces that you present for practical music, for instance, or anything that you have played in your previous years or that you have been a part of, for instance, orchestral music, maybe some chamber music, choir music, anything like that, even something as silly as little good old happy birthday. That's an example of something, and people have used it a lot in the past and they get their marks there because it is an example of what they're trying to portray or put forward. As long as it links to the topic and argument you want to convey, if you have a correct example, no matter how silly you might think it is correct. So there we go. In this section, you are required to answer questions about music or aesthetic issues. You should be ready to express reasoned opinions, construct an argument, and support your judgments. You need to refer to specific examples of the music you have studied or played or know of. This should include examples from your wider personal listening experience and your work in perhaps performing and or composing. And here we go, though they don't say it on your question paper, they do mention this in the syllabus. You have to use sufficient examples to fully support your arguments, okay? And if that example happens to be happy birthday, you use it, okay? Now, when it comes to essays, people just tend to write, and maybe they want to write what they feel or whatnot, and then they are surprised when they get a low mark. This is not about your feelings, no matter how much you think feeling must be in the word opinion. There is a little bit of a difference. An academic opinion is different to a personal feeling. Now, although I said you are going to base your answers on personal experience, it doesn't mean a feeling-y experience. Remember, academic writing is academic writing. Though this is music, it is still fully academic, and you need to present a good, full-rounded, well-written essay. So you're going to need an introduction, you're going to need at least 2 body paragraphs, I would suggest 3, and then you're going to need a conclusion. Remember to separate all your paragraphs with a line so that it shows that you are onto a new paragraph or onto a new topic. Simple things. Now, I have written out a list of my very own AS Level Music essay writing tips, and I'll just go through a few of those now, but I have linked a PDF version of my tips in the description below, so please feel free to read it and use it. So as I say, I would recommend for you to have 3 body paragraphs, so you'll have your introduction, 3 body paragraphs, as well as your conclusion. Nice and structured, and when you do feel structured, You go into the exam, you do what you do. This can also be very much applied in your Section B essays. But when you do go into Section C, it can somewhat feel like a gamble, almost like we're back to IGCSE music days where we don't know what's going to be thrown at us. So when you see a question like, what does silence mean in music? You sort of want to get maybe philosophical, write down things, but you forget how to structure things. If you know how to use a structure and you practice the structure well in advance before you write your paper, once you do get to that exam on the day and you see questions being thrown at you, 3 random things, and you feel very flustered about it, first take your time and think about the structure. Once you have your structure in mind and you know your little tips, all the knowledge that comes floating into your brain will sort of find their segmented compartments in which to fit. I would say introduction, you need a paragraph 1 on at least one of your topics or your styles or traditions, paragraph 2 on one of your topics or styles or traditions, then paragraph 3, it will either be a comparison paragraph, an extra paragraph, or an opinion paragraph, which is based on your academic opinion. Then you need a conclusion, and no new information in the conclusion, please people. So in your introduction, you need to restate your question and outline what you're about to discuss. But this does not mean that it just needs to be a one-liner. Of course, there are different ways of writing introductions, and they can be very good one-line introductions. They can also be very good 7, 8, 9, 10-line introductions. But here we really want to do something that is both thorough and concise. So restate the question, say what you're about to discuss. This essay will discuss silence in music regarding, I don't know, maybe you want to use style of music in that case. So maybe you can say regarding 20th century music, specifically looking at the work of John Cage, for instance. Okay, and of course you need more than that. You do need at least 2 or 3 things that you want to talk about. But for instance, if you're writing an introduction, there you go, you stop there. Then you move on to your paragraphs. So in paragraph 1, you will need to outline one of your topics. Stick to 1 paragraph per topic and 1 topic per paragraph. Do not try and mix and match here. 3.5 pages might sound like a long thing, but it's not. It's really supposed to be a concise effort here. So pay attention, keep to your structure, don't do anything else. You can be very creative within the limited space or structure, so to speak. This is where creativity does its best work, within limitations. So 1 topic per paragraph, 1 in paragraph 1, another 1 in paragraph 2, and remember to always link your final ideas in the paragraph to your topic. So always link it back to silence, for instance, if your topic is silence. Don't leave the paragraph just hanging. Link it back to silence, make sure you have your example of something to do with silence, and then you move on. Same thing for paragraph 2, just a different topic or different example. Then in your second last paragraph, which is going to be your third body paragraph technically, you're going to either compare what you've already said, state some extra things about all the topics that you've already done so far. So for instance, 2 topics, you're going to speak about them a little bit more expansively here, if you choose to do so, or you can state your very well thought out academic opinion. And remember, even when you are talking about your own opinion, don't say I think this, or myself this, or I. Remember to always keep your essay nice and academic. Keep it respectful. No one should know your gender, your age, your country, your continent by the way that you write. You're just a person writing. Your essay should speak for itself. Yes, there should be character and personality in the writing, but it's different, okay? Essays should speak for themselves, but it has a different tone than you personally. Your writing is obviously different to your speaking, and that's the way it should be. And when you do refer to even your own opinion, say, one can state, one can posit, one can say that silence is used as a mechanism to make audiences think or ponder about life, etc. Use one, because one is going to save you and make your essay very academic. Afterwards, we have a conclusion where we're going to summarize our work. And we're not going to say anything new. We're going to say what we just said, say why we are concluding this. We're going to say, therefore, one can conclude that silence in music is portrayed as blah, 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 blah. You're going to just restate your 2 topics, how you've done it, and then maybe at the end you can have sort of a universal statement, although there isn't truly any such thing. Because technically, we don't all think the same thing in the same way at the same time, so we can't really have any universal ideas really. But you can say something nice about your topic or about your composer, or if it's a section B essay for instance, about your pieces. So definitely end off by making a statement about your general topic. And remember, when you do give examples throughout your essay, if there are titles of works or anything like that, titles of movements, even good old happy birthday, remember to underline it. If you were going to type this out, you would be italicizing it, but of course we can't write in italics, so definitely do go ahead and underline any names of works. So I hope that does help you a little bit. Of course, practice is what you need, so take the advice and tips in this video, but go and practice it yourself. And then I have linked below 60 past questions that have come up in the past few years alone that Cambridge has put in their section C, so you'll see it goes anywhere from random to random. And there are some good structured things that you might think that you can dwell on and bring up your old IGCSE stuff up, like your world music, like your different forms of your Western art music. But there can also be questions that are much more philosophical. And all of these you can just take, apply the structure to it. So definitely do go ahead, practice some of these examples. If there are any one of the essays that you would like me to talk about or make a video on, please do comment below. And then happy practicing for Section C essay writing.